The Toronto Raptors are in an interesting position post All-Star break, with the opportunity to make a real push for the play-in tournament or go in the other direction, focus on the NBA draft. So what should we really expect out of the team for the rest of the season? We'll have the answer in today's video. Let's get into it. Welcome back, everybody. This is Amateur Sports, the YouTube channel dedicated to Toronto Raptors content. Make sure you hit the like button if you enjoy along the way and subscribe for more content just like it, because whatever happens with the Raptors, we'll be covering it right here on the channel. And hopefully, we'll be making the push to 20,000 subs in 2025. But the Raptors, yes, in a tough situation right now as far as what they want to do with their season, because they're 17-38. That's not a fantastic record, but the Eastern Conference is really bad, especially near the bottom of it, especially in those latter parts of the play-in tournament positions. Because right now in the NBA standings, the Raptors are 4.5 games back of that final play-in tournament spot, which is currently occupied by the Chicago Bulls, who are in 10th place. And looking at the Bulls, I mean, you could look at a lot of teams in this area of the standings. There's probably not a lot of these teams that are going to actually want to be in those play-in tournament spots. I mean, you have the Chicago Bulls, who are in 10th, like I said, 4.5 games up on the Raptors, who are in 13th. And you've got the Atlanta Hawks in 9th, who have lost Jalen Johnson to injury for the rest of the season. They've made some cost-cutting trades. Like, this is not really a team that wants to be in the play-in tournament spot either. But it's like two teams have to finish in those spots. So the Raptors, if they want to do it, if they really want to push for it, I think they are capable of making the comeback and getting into that spot. And as far as what that looks like, I mean, the complicated situation is what's best for the team and what's best for the players, because the players all season have been adamant on winning. And even Scotty Barnes has doubled down on wanting to do that post All-Star break. When asked about some fans being more excited about the draft lottery than the team actually winning games, he had this to say: "They can be excited about it. I don't really give a damn about it. I'm trying to win games. My mindset is in a different place." And it was kind of the same thing at the start of the season. There were some conversations from people within the Raptors organization that this was a rebuild. Masai Ujiri flat out said that this was a rebuild, the first year of a rebuild. Darko Rajakovic also acknowledged this, but the players kept the mindset that they were trying to win games. And Masai Ujiri also communicated this before the season started. Like, I want them to think that. I want the players to be focused on winning. You let us handle these other optics sort of things. And that's kind of the position I think that is going to present itself for the Raptors, because I support the players wanting to win games. Watching the games, you can clearly see they are trying to win. You can clearly see they are being coached to try and win games. They just aren't very good at it and have dealt with a lot this season, which is why they only have 17 wins and they have 38 losses. But again, these players will want that experience. These players will have the hunger to be a play-in tournament team, because I'm sure at the start of the season, this team set out with the goal of making the playoffs and at the very least making the play-in tournament. It felt as though this team was good enough to do that. They haven't quite showcased that as of yet, but hey, there's still that chance to do it if they really want to put a run together. The problem is the upcoming schedule is a little bit strange. Like, there's going to be a really tough pocket right up out of the All-Star break for the Raptors. Then it starts to get a little bit easier. Here are Toronto's next 4 games at the time of recording. They play Miami tonight, again, the time of recording. Then they play Phoenix, then Boston, all 3 of those games at home. Then they're away at the Indiana Pacers. 3 tough games. 3 games where, yeah, maybe some of them are winnable, but they're going to be underdogs in all of these games. They could come out, sure, with 2 or 3 wins, absolutely, but this is a bit of a tough stretch. But following this 4-game stretch, it starts to get a lot easier for the Raptors. They are away at Chicago, who, like I said, don't really want that final play-in tournament spot. Then it's back-to-back games against Orlando, who have just been a bit of a mess leading into the All-Star break. So we'll see which Orlando team kind of shows up, but seems like winnable games right now for the Raptors, even though they'll probably be underdogs in those 2 games as well. Then it starts to get really easy. Wow. Home against Utah. 2 home games against Washington, a home game against Philadelphia, then away at Utah. So there's definitely some wins there available to the Raptors. Like, the next 10 games, we could very much see the Raptors pick up 5 or 6 wins, like even including this tough stretch of games. So what I'm trying to say is the Raptors' schedule, the strength of it was very front-loaded, and it's going to become weaker near the end of the season. So as I said earlier, if the Raptors really want to push for a play-in tournament spot, I think they are more than good enough to get that spot and make the play-in tournament. But is that what's best for the team? Because, like we saw with the Scotty Barnes quote, he was asked directly about the fans being more focused on the draft rather than the team winning games. And he's saying, I don't give a damn. I want to win games. That's my mindset. That's great. I want him to have that winning mindset. But also what I said is that Masai Ujiri wants to worry about these sorts of things. And I think it's time to start worrying about the NBA draft. In the last 5 years, we have seen the Raptors with three opportunities to really try and tank. They took two of those opportunities. Firstly, in the Tampa season, they tanked. Post All-Star break, post trade deadline, this team was tanking and made it obvious. And the NBA has since switched up the rules regarding tanking and resting players. But even still, last year, the Raptors, who didn't even confirmed own their own first-round pick, put up a pretty generational tank that included I think it was a 15-game losing streak. So, yeah, when Masai Ujiri puts his mind to it and wants to tank, and he didn't want to tank a couple years ago when the team acquired Pearl at the deadline and then pushed for the play-in tournament spot, which resulted in that ugly loss to the Chicago Bulls. But when this organization has put their mind towards losing games, they have been pretty successful at doing it. And we look at this NBA draft class, and you see Cooper Flag, the prize, the big prize at the top if you get the most amount of luck in the NBA draft lottery. But there's some pretty good consolation prizes, such as Ace Bailey, such as Dylan Harper, and such as others. And if you tank correctly, get a really good pick, maybe get a little bit of lottery luck, you bring in potentially a great player that's going to help your team on a cost-controlled contract for 4 years, which is vital to the team with Scotty Barnes' max contract kicking in, Brandon Ingram's big contract kicking in. Quickly's already got his big contract from the Raptors. RJ was already getting paid decent money before the Raptors traded for him. Like, this is going to be an expensive team, so bringing in that level of talent on that cost-controlled rookie contract for 4 years is fantastic. Not to mention, you've got that fantastic player that you're now adding to your team, and it's not going to cost you anything. Like, playing for what? That's the famous quote from Masai Ujiri. Like, what are we really trying to go into the play-in tournament for? Great. You're the 10 seed. Now you have to win 2 games in a row to make the playoffs. Great. Now you're getting likely the Cleveland Cavaliers, or maybe you're getting the Boston Celtics if somehow you finish 8th, but probably not. Like, you're probably getting the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have like slaughtered the Raptors this season when they've played them, and did so like 2 weeks ago. So I'm not really interested in that. Development-wise, we've seen this team tank in the past. We've seen this team put in the work to focus on the draft, and we've still seen developmental strides being taken, like Grady Dick at the start of this season, the way he played compared to what we saw from last year. Like, it's way more important. I see the arguments, building winning habits and whatnot, but they're probably still, even if they want to make the play-in tournament, and they do make the play-in tournament, not winning that many games. It's just so much more beneficial for this team to look at the draft. So what is the rest of the season going to look like? Well, that trade for Brandon Ingram, what it did is it brought in a player who's not healthy and currently not playing, and it took away some key pieces of the depth. Bruce Brown has started to play a lot better. Kelly Olynyk had started to play a lot better, which coincided with the Raptors putting on like a pretty good win streak and a pretty good win run, moving them up the standings a little bit. So getting rid of those guys has completely depleted the Toronto Raptors bench. So depth-wise, the team is seriously struggling, and they also traded away David Mitchell. So the team has gotten worse. They are going to seriously struggle there. And they may not even have to really do much to help with this tank here because they're just lacking so much in depth. At the moment, Jakob Poeltl is injured. What they got to do with players right now, if a guy's hurt, no need to rush him back. Especially a player like Poeltl, who is like so vital to the team, and clearly they want him here next season. They clearly want to push for a playoff spot next season. That's an important piece. There's no need to rush him back. Otherwise, put the players out there and try and win games. It's going to be difficult for them to do that. As far as Brandon Ingram, what to expect from him, I don't think he's going to play much. Darko Rajakovic has even said like he may not play for the rest of the season. I wouldn't really want that. I'd like him to get his feet wet a little bit, get accustomed to playing in the uniform, playing in the building, playing with his teammates. I think an ideal situation for the Raptors is they kind of coast the rest of the way in the way I described. If a guy's hurt, don't rush him back. Win they're on 17 wins, just some easy games. Like can they win like 24 games? Like their over-under win total in the season is like 27.5 right now. Can they go 24, maybe 25 wins like they did last season? Can they get Brandon Ingram 5, 6, 7 games just to get his feet a little bit wet with the Raptors? And if they manage to do that, you know, we see maybe some strides taken from Barnes, maybe cleans up the efficiency a little bit. I think that's a pretty successful season and puts us in a pretty good spot for the draft. Not the best spot it could have for the draft. They definitely could have been worse, but hey, the team had aspirations to make the playoffs this year, and I think that would still be a pretty good outcome overall. Get them in line for maybe the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th pick in the draft. And if they get some lottery luck, maybe even a little bit higher going up into the top 4. So my expectation, what to expect from the Raptors for the rest of the season, I don't think the full focus of the organization is going to be on winning. And I would say there probably isn't going to be that many wins the rest of the way. 7, 8 more, I think, would be the right number here for the Raptors overall. 27 games left. It kind of feels like that's doable for the team. And again, when they have put their mind towards tanking, they have been pretty successful at doing that. So what do you guys make of the rest of the season? What do you think the Raptors should be doing? Should it be trying to make the play-in tournament? Should it be focusing on the NBA draft? Give me all of your thoughts and opinions on this situation in the comments down below. That's all for me for today. Drop a like if you did enjoy this video. Make sure you subscribe for more Raptors content, and we'll see you again next time for another video.